kids, jump oh kids. Jump bakken gehasven. Rekormo, dżendesna.
在
Megnesta ci şarjarak Snurris, Amitsnatsan, Cheris, Amitsnatsan, Chernis, Amitsnatsan. Seniada, Pava, Merche, Pama, Temenats, Orening, Dennis, Amitsnatsan, Yaris, Amitsnatsan.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the Segue reading series at Artist Space. I'm Jay Sanders, and this is Stella Stillman. We're the curators of this season. We have such a special event tonight with Bains and Lonnie Holley. So thank you so much for being here, and thanks to everyone watching on the live stream. Just a reminder to our live stream viewers, you can make a donation through Venmo, and all the proceeds go to the performers tonight. So we want to thank also our good friend Matt Arnett, who helped put tonight together and works closely with Lonnie and Lee. And actually, Matt's going to say a little bit about what you're going to experience tonight, because it's a very special program.
Thank you, guys. Good evening. Really want to say thank you to Artist Space for doing this event, continuing to do this series. And thank you to Jay Sanders for including Lonnie, which maybe is a little bit of a left turn from the series, but it is worth pointing out to all of you here who probably don't know this, the first curator or programmer really to book Lonnie to play his music out in the world in a institutional context was Jay Sanders when he was a curator at the Whitney. So thank you, Jay, for your continued support. And I believe, was it Adam that told you about Lonnie? Because I know he's here too. Adam Lohr, who is here tonight, is the one that first turned Jay onto Lonnie's, the musical side of Lonnie's creative side. And so thank you, Adam. I know you're here somewhere. There you are. I'm going to say just a couple things about how the flow of this will go. Just Bains is going to read, and I'll tell you a little bit about Lee in a second, and then play a song, and then we're going to take a short break, 5 minutes, 10 short break, and then Lonnie and Lee will come up. When Jay invited Lonnie to do this and told him it was part of a reading series, there is a lot of people have talked about this and written about it, and it's absolutely true that Lonnie, irrespective of who his collaborators are, when he makes music in the studio or live, the music is always created spontaneously, and like his visual art. I should say this now because there were some white sheets of paper that they were passing out, and when Jay asked Lonnie to do this, we thought about what we could do to make this different from just like a regular performance. And so we came up with the idea to give out pieces of paper and let you guys maybe express some of your thoughts or things that are on your mind. And then Lonnie will, obviously, if a lot of you do it, we can't do it with all of them, but that Lonnie and Lee will we'll just draw a couple of those out and call them out to them in the set, and they will create music literally spontaneously based on something that one of you has written on a piece of paper. It's kind of terrifying to think about, but it might be fun. So if you have those pieces of paper, turn them in. Lonnie, going back to the 80s, used to spend time in Birmingham when he realized that the schools were taking art out of the schools and it wasn't something being taught. And Lonnie started volunteering and going to the schools to make art with students and teaching them about art. And one of his students, who was 8 years old at the time, was a young kid named Bains, who lived on the south side of Birmingham. And some of his earliest art training came from Lonnie Holley, and they reconnected as adults. By that point, Lee was already an acclaimed singer-songwriter and the front person of the band Bains and the Glorifiers. And most people who are familiar with Lee's music were not aware that Lee was also writing poetry in most of his poems. A lot of his poems are about the working class and their, no access to food and the idea of class and food and all of that. And I think it's safe to say if there's a cause in the South that needs people to fight for it, you will always find Lee Bains there, whether it's workers trying to unionize at an Amazon or people trying to stop the city of Atlanta from building a militarized police facility. You will find Lee Bains there playing music or protesting or doing whatever. And for the last 6 or 7 years, he has been a very frequent collaborator with Lonnie. And so when Jay asked Lonnie to take part in this, he suggested maybe that Lee could come and read. I don't know if Lee will read any of his poems that have been published in the New Yorker or whether he's reading new things. We didn't talk about it, but let's just do it. Lee, there you are. Give a nice warm welcome to Lee Bains.
Thanks, Matt. Thank y'all for having me. It's an honor to be here and to read, and forgive me that I'm using digital technology here to do that. Lonnie and I were able to play with one of my favorite poets a couple weeks ago, Joy Harjo, and she got on stage and read from her phone, just like this. So I was like, all right, then I can do the same. Okay, this is a poem from a series that I've written called Work Lunch, that several of them were published online with the New Yorker a couple years ago. And I'll just jump into it. This one is called Meat and Threes. Chitlins, my grandmama said, was something that, even in the depths of the Depression, they wouldn't eat. My grandmama talked about living off of livers and gizzards and poke salad, sassafras tea and chicory root, about chewing every bite 30 times before you swallowed, about drinking a whole glass of water right before you ate and a whole glass right after, about the can of hardening fatback grease that would sit on the glassless windowsill and render unto them by ration mounds the only trace of protein they often got, about how her daddy told her, you may be poor, but at least you ain't black. The first time I ate chitlins was at the same place my brother first ate chitlins, back when he worked at the discount paint store, and the boss had railed him out for fucking up the paint, because you had to match a 3/4 can of old white with a 1/4 can of old yellow to make cream, and had to make sure the raggedy old can lid clamped down good or you'd throw paint everywhere when you mixed it. And his coworker felt bad for him, so he took him to lunch at the Quick Split, and they both got chitlins. Otherwise, the food was like our grandmama's, the crunchy okra, the porky, tender greens, the moist, crusty cornbread, the syrupy, soft, sweet potatoes, the salty, plump, black-eyed peas. The Quick Split closed one day without warning. Its hand-painted sign had read Chitterlings and Steam Table, and since 19-something, I think I remember, I can't find any pictures on the internet. My brother heard the landlord had jacked up the rent, as they had up and down the forlorn blocks. From the other side of the mountain, something called a restaurant group installed a franchise into the old space. It couldn't have been scarcely cold yet. They called it Soul Kitchen. I'm told the soul is what is left when a body dies. Up on the north side, Nikki's has long towered over the other Meat and Threes, a colossus of rambling dining rooms and spacious parking lots. Its Odyssean steam table long enough, it seems, that if you brought your eye to a level with the Greek catfish, you could observe the curvature of the earth somewhere around the congealed salad. There, between those anointed golden hours of 11 and 2, you will spy clay-spackled work trucks and glimmering imported sedans, austere brutalist cop cruisers, and candy-coated whimsical donks. As fine-tuned its assembly of seasoned table men. Hello, sir, what do you have? As open as their doors, as efficient as their headset-wearing hosts, the prices have crept up and the work trucks get fewer. In the fluorescent void of the grocery store, we examine the bunches of collards, the bags of okra, grown in Honduras, grown in California. Do they eat okra in Honduras? Do they eat collards in California? We double check the price. They must have flown them over first class. The farmer's market, the locally grown section, the organic superstore, all worse. In Birmingham, a meat and three is hard to avoid. In Atlanta, they're hard to find, unless you count the couple of tourist traps bedecked with soft focus paintings of bloodless plantation homes, the metallic sheen on black and white photos of smiling politicians, their hands hidden presumably into the pockets of the poor motherfuckers slinging soap and boiling oil in the back or rushing out plates. What Meat and Three does table service for $2.13 an hour, which will get you a plate of liver and onions so long as the year is 1928. Or the glass and steel simulacra in the bottoms of skyscrapers that claim elevation but practice degradation, truffle oil in the peas, rice vinegar in the greens, some sort of compote on the goddamn cornbread, a corporate account cafeteria in the guise of high culinary art. But there is something special. That is its name, something special. As I kneel down to inspect the warped track of the sliding door at the guard shack, reaching for a pry bar or maybe a flathead, RB forks mouthfuls from a styrofoam tray. Lee, I know you're from Alabama. You like soul food? He tells me about something special. I've seen it. It had looked closed. An old Shoney's maybe, burglar bars in the windows. It is the place I go to swim in her broad smile and sweetness and scent of patiently tended gravy, to squeeze into a booth and set my sweat-streaked hat onto the seat beside me, to disappear into the golden snap of a freshly fried pork chop and the peppered twang of greens and long, cold draughts of sweet, velvet-rich tea. To lavish oxtails on myself, their fatty drippings mingling with cornbread for a dangerous price. I've heard that the restaurant groups and supply chains and commodity markets have done their work. It is the place we seek out sustenance in the thick of the burnt-neck dog days, shelter in the throes of ditch-digging Decembers. We eat until finally we breathe. Our legs laying up on the booth seat, our backs leaned against the wall, watching the snow-flecked soap operas quietly unspool on the TV, perched over by the condiments. It is the only place in this city somebody has ever asked me, where you been? All right, this is another one from that series. And I want to say Something Special is a real place if you're ever in Atlanta. It's great food, and you're liable to see Lonnie in there. We run into each other sometimes. A couple of Birmingham guys looking for good food. This one's called Sandwich. It comes down to personal responsibility. I remember my kinsman glaring, the chatter of the buffet indifferent to his rage. Look at grandmama. She grew up with nothing. Whatever granddaddy and them had, they lost in the Depression. But they farmed their own food, made clothes out of sacks. Grandmama is tight-lipped, looking out onto the superhighway. Far west of there were the woods where her daddy tried to farm the sorry, coal-seamed hollers and preach to the UMWA boys who fought for every scrap from U.S. Steel. A short mile east were the red brick ranch house, the green yard studded with spindly black pine trees, bought by my granddaddy and a GI loan and a grateful nation. I don't suppose the nation was grateful for what Dante's granddaddy did over in Korea or Tisha's daddy did over in Vietnam. It is my personal responsibility to climb in the van, pull the sack of white bread, peanut butter, bananas from the shady spot on the floorboard, to smear this peanut butter on this white bread, to cut up the bananas into little circles, to unfasten the paper clip from the bag of chips. The store over by work is a national bargain center entity. It is owned by something called an investment manager, headquartered in Toronto, Canada. It is next to a 24-hour laundromat and a thrift store and an African hair supply. It does an annual $4 billion in sales. It will be closed due to insufficient profits in 14 months. There are no lettuce or tomatoes. Sometimes there are apples. There are usually bananas. I figure in my head, one loaf, one jar, one bunch, about $2.50 a meal. Damn, I forget about the chips, about $3.30 a meal. Sitting in the van, gumming a sandwich, I think about the hamburgers from the national entity around the corner. I can get 2 cheeseburgers, no, 2 double cheeseburgers for $3.50. At the truck stop, 2 hot dogs are $3. Grandmama loved hot dogs. They were her favorite food. Even when Granddaddy would offer to take her to the Bright Star or the Red Lobster, she'd usually just rather a good hot dog and some potato chips. When she and her mama and daddy and sisters and brothers had picked the crops and her daddy had sold them and had paid the landowner and had paid the store, he would try to give her a dime for to go to the picture show. She was the baby. She would walk those dusty miles down to the picture show. She usually didn't have shoes then. This was the 20s. The Depression hadn't even hit yet. She would clutch the dime in her tight little hand, feeling the smooth cool of the plated silver and the wings on the side of Lady Liberty's head. She would come to reach the pasture that, in warmer months, would be transformed into the expansive prairies of the Wild West, the glittering ballrooms of New York City, the dark, stony castles of France, the sun-swept courtyards of Arabia. Out there at the edge of the field, the heat of the dwindling summer would die with the dusk. Daddy would come along to fetch her later and carry her home. Now she watched the first stars in deepening blue enfold the great white screen. She walks up to the man in the pine box, tiptoes at the counter, and hands him her dime. She asks him, "Please, sir, a cold Coke and a hot dog." All right. I'll read one more from this series. It's interesting, like being up in this part of the country. I was very fortunate and grateful to get to go to school in New York. And coming up here, I learned a lot from my friends from this region about the concept of identity and culture. And I started really questioning a lot of the ideas that I grew up in and didn't even know I was growing up in, like primarily the racial binary that largely existed in Birmingham and exists. And it started me on a journey of picking apart these ideas of whiteness, what it means to be white or American, and the power that goes along with that, and has always been the primary focus of these systems. And this poem, I think, is largely, the perspective is largely shaped by those conversations with my friends up here. This is called Taquerias. El Girasol means sunflower, or really sun turn. The tienda and taqueria on exhaust-choked First Avenue North looks to have always been a grocery store. I don't remember what used to occupy it, that cinder block bunker across from the donut place Granddaddy used to carry me to next to the appliance repair. Granddaddy said the Italians used to run all the grocery stores on the east side. And one time at a ball game in his ancient youth, his team's pitcher, an Italian fella, was getting hell from the other team on account of being Italian. And it got so bad that he wound up beaning the ugliest of them when he got up to bat. But see, it wasn't the ball he had thrown. See, between innings, he'd run out to his daddy's truck to fetch him a rotten tomato. The whole dugout fell out. Johnny Musso was also from the east side. He played for the Bear, and they called him the Italian Stallion. Granddaddy wouldn't allow his kids to be close friends with Catholics. Grandmama often fixed spaghetti for supper. La Perla means the pearl. It sits out on the Bessemer Superhighway, not too far from the old steelworks, dead, not too far from the old Pullman plant, dead, not far from the super center or the beleaguered food fair where Grandmama, dead, got beat up and robbed. It sells enough quick groceries to the folks rushing home at the end of the day or with just enough time between shifts to keep the tienda running. My great uncle, dead, ran the old hardware store, dead. The taqueria is why we come, collapsing into the tender piles of barbacoa, chorizo, pastor that sit in the middle of the softly bubbling, steaming tortillas. Jaime Sr. doesn't speak much English, but Jaime Jr. does. He is playing football this year at John Carroll, Catholic. He pulls for Auburn, thank God. Catalina means Catherine, which means pure, apparently. It sits on Dixie Highway next to the Dixie Muebleria, which means Dixie Furniture Store. The airplanes send out their gigantic pterodactyl groans overhead. The 18-wheelers rumble and Jake brake past. The freight trains brake shriek where they split the highway. Bond calls it a hot dog burrito because they cut up hot dogs in their charro beans and put charro beans in the burrito martine, which also contains rice, chorizo, pastor, and asada, and will give you a serious case of itis. Bond always takes half home, but see, I eat for comfort. Down the street, some gringos and their investment group have opened a magazine bait assault on the Catalina with $5 trifling dry-ass tacos and cockamamie margaritas. They have likely deployed a PR brigade that wears stylish eyeglasses and has read deeply of essays critical of the cult of authenticity, that swears that genius steals, that dispassionately smirks. Well, does culture really belong to anyone? Funny how the folks who claim culture doesn't really belong to anyone tend to feel differently when you posit that maybe profits don't belong to anyone either. For now, anyway, we belong here, as it feels does every work luncher and layabout and night shifter, picking at our hot dog burritos, sleepily watching the soccer game on the big screen, cheering along whenever the sheetrock crew's team gets one in the net. Thanks. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more here. I'm very grateful to, be traveling with Lonnie and to get to make art with him and learn from him how to make art and how to be an artist in the world. And there's something about, it's like I've toured for a long time in bands, and a lot of times being on tour is pretty exhausting and it's like draining. And the last thing I want to do, is like listen to music or write music or whatever. When I get home, I just want to like watch Antiques Roadshow for days on end or eat bologna sandwiches. But being with Lonnie, it doesn't matter how many shows we play or how long we've been going. Creativity is just coursing through me in a way that I've never experienced before. So these poems that I'm fixing to read were poems that I wrote while I was traveling with Lonnie. This one was one when we went up to Boston, played at Plymouth. This is called Boston Poem Number 3. The old folks lounging in the hidden corner of the square, basking in the warm odors of pomodoro and osobuco, the faint clamor of the old neighborhood, easy under the crouching hulk of the old North Church, night-wrapped. Their age-proud faces, Mediterranean bronze, New England taut, lightly outlined in the high summer moonlight and the fluorescence spilling off Hanover Street. In a ring of yellow lamplight, some children chase one another, giggling around a shrouded form. Behold, it is Paul Revere, cloaked and reared up on a somber horse, exclaiming in Spanish, shrieking, laughing. Their parents sit on a bench in the dark periphery, wondering at them, quiet. Over in the corner, the white-haired folks have their radio turned up. It's their Prince, all the way up. They survey their vista with sparking, satisfied smiles. It is good, His Highness singing to it all, from beyond the grave, I reckon. Not the words of one who kneels, his Sicilian suave, his Yankee bravado, his American gall. I did it my way. All right. This one's called A Little Church. This is, again, about traveling, and what I try to do is go for a walk when I can, and if I see a church or something that feels like a sacred space wherever we are, I try to poke my head in there and see what's going on and be quiet. And this is about that. A little church. Amsterdam. We nearly missed it, the stone archway flanked by plexiglass cubes boasting Desinen and 70% offen. But we found it, and the red door and the little stone neck opened into a great wide open body, its round ribs joining together skyward, below which the 40-odd refugees with walkers and canes and the various sacks of the unhoused are hardly bothered by our intrusion. In the book by the door, the pages lie open to where a hasty hand has scrawled, "God, I am so angry!" Van Gogh's still life of his father's old Bible, leather-weighted, pastor-thumbed, clean-kept, well-worn, table-centered, never closed. And his, the Sun's Zola pamphlet, new, tattered, cast askance, hastily shut. Brussels. You can see your breath in here. Vast, it breathes me in to its great blanched cavity, whereby buses rumble and wherein nobody sits, plaster splits and windows shudder, the bare ruined choir. Rome. No pictures, it says in numerous tongues. This is a sacred place where doughy Germans gawk and teenagers titter at the reeling arches and flowering knots of yellowed pelvises and thigh bones and ribs, at the skin leathering over the sainted slack-jawed skulls, uniform in their shape and expression, brown and plain as the robes they wore in their first feeble life. Where the docent sighs loudly, submerged in his phone, maybe an angry wife, maybe Trump has declared war. And here, in this womb of rippling dreams, where Borromini's longing, stone and stucco spilling like milk, floats upon unseen currents and slow, aching arcs. Inside, the old priest sits reading scripture, the occasional glimpse over the slender wires of his glasses from his seat in the confessional booth, waiting. Does he note the kneeling Midwestern suburbanites, corpse perfect and Reagan clean as on Notre Dame game day? Or the youth-boned, deep-tanned Argentine backpackers who genuflect as if floating? Or the wild-haired Alabama derelict slouched in shut-eyed, head-cowed defeat? And ponder, perhaps lean in and whisper to the bound heart of his hard-thumbed text, why Rome's seed, so scarcely taking in the tapped-out soil of its old bitter empire, should send such deep twisting root into the jungles and the pine woods of a place so grotesque as America. I come from a land ravaged, laid open, scourged by the word, where even unbelievers, perhaps they most of all, are furious in their belief, where Maddie slipped into vacant daytime downtown sanctuaries to be fucked in the ass, where Matt rolled joints in the translucent, torn out pages of Gideon's Bible, where I, wrapped in black sky and charged with black metal, spirited away a concrete Christ from its place beside the bird bath out front of a Southern Baptist church and rustled it across 119 on foot, a thief in the night. But here, who cares to rage, to cry out, to pound the chest of God, to flail a scourge? I prayed every day. Why did you take him? He was only a child. Do you want me to hate you? Freiburg. The way here, the shopping mall shoos you into a narrow medieval corridor to a gasp, whoosh, and your neck cranes back at the impossible steeple and the arched, layered lips of the portal. The narthex, which means scourge, appears to bout, beckon, like billowing stone, dewy petals, an unfolding, quivering, pleading invitation to come inside and be unborn. Thanks, y'all. I got one more poem here, and I'm very thankful to have my buddy Franklin Fisher from the great band Algiers here. And Frankie was very kind to ask me to contribute some words to their killer last album, Shook. And if you hadn't heard it, I highly encourage you to check that out. It's a brilliant record, and Franklin's an amazing lyricist and musician that has a sense of depth and vision that I really appreciate, and I'm thankful to know him as a very good person. This is called Where We're From. Where we're from, we're born out of a cloud of witnesses who watched or walked through cotton-rich, swamp-sick streets clamoring for freedom, who snuck along the piney margins, meeting under the moon and moss, just far enough out of sight of the white columns and the patrolling guns, laying out plans at the feet of the stars, looking upward for a glinting nod, a beam of dusty light to mark the way, who rattled the gates of the mills and the industrial parks, who fiddled and buck danced and bounced to trap music as the smokestacks and fulfillment centers sat silent, who pitched tents when the company tumped them out of the pine boxes and the insurance they'd rented with their toil, who stirred vast pots of greens and flipped armies of tortillas to feed the multitudes. We live among the strong, crawling, green rivers who slide around the mounds that reach heavenward, whose roots lay buried to the depths of the earth, whose people return again and again to witness their slow, constant, propulsive, unchanging, who humble the towering cities that shy from their banks, that try to listen and scrape the sky that will one day, maybe not long, crumble into splinters and shards, be taken back into the faithful current, return to the warm, silty belly, pulled back into the soft dream underneath all, who descend from muddy creeks, crouching in dense woods with cavorting black roots stirred by the silent ripples of cottonmouths, whose ancient bottoms mother the corn and collards and okra that mother us, who descend from clear springs hidden in plunging hollers by explosions of mountain laurel, whose cold crystals taste electrifies us from deep within the rock. When we die, the neighbors will bring casseroles. Drag shows will be held in our honor. Prayers will be shuttled upwards like paper boats slipped onto a pond by patient hands, fluttering into clouds of stars and interstate exhaust in Urdu and Muskogee and Spanish and Somali. The community centers and union halls will swell with songs that were old before we were born. The prophets and barflies will meet by the fountain, listening to street poetry, watching the bold, smooth faces of the young as they parade past with cracked eyes and crooked smiles. The marchers in the boulevard will take their knee, raise their fist, drop their face, silent in the midday traffic like a stone in a quick river. When we die, our beloved, our kinfolk, fear not, we rise. Thanks. Thank you.
They voted for it. So thank you guys to everybody who has given us a piece of paper. We put them in here. I don't know how we'll do it. Maybe I'll call them out or give them to Lee or something. I'm sorry we can't read them all, obviously. Lonnie wanted me to introduce him, and wow, it's always an honor to do that. I'll try to keep it brief. And a house fire in 1979 took the life of 8-year-old Maurice and 1-year-old Frida. And when they died in the fire, their mother sank into a deep depression. And when she was told that she didn't have enough money to buy tombstones to properly bury her small children, her depression turned to despair. Her 29-year-old brother saw her despair in the way that it had broken up the whole family, and he wanted to do something to lift her spirits and to lift the spirits of his family, but he didn't know what to do. And he was visiting another sister and found a discarded piece of stone. It was a man-made, industrialized sandstone made during the production of steel, and then thrown all of this extra cast off stone was cast away as having no more value. And Lonnie took some of that stone and cut it down and carved tombstones for his niece and nephew and presented them to his sister. And when he presented the tombstones to his sister, he saw the despair lift from her face. And it was at that moment that Lonnie understood the cathartic power art had. And equally important, it gave purpose and meaning to something he had been doing his whole life without fully understanding why. At that moment, he realized that these things he had been making since he was a child had a purpose. And fortunately, for all of us, he's continued to take materials, oftentimes cast off materials that we have said have no more value or beauty, and taken those objects and reformed and recast them into objects to teach us about ourselves. Those works made their way out into the world and are now in the collection of the Museum of Modern Art and the Metropolitan Museum and the National Gallery and the Smithsonian American Art Museum and countless others. What most people didn't realize, even the people who were intimately familiar with Lonnie's visual art, is that a few years after carving those first sandstones for his niece and nephew, he found an old Casio keyboard at a Goodwill store in Birmingham and brought it home and took it apart and started making sounds and then singing songs, although he didn't really call them songs, over the sounds he was making on the keyboard. Generally, he sang about the same things his visual art was about: the mistreatment of people of color and the mistreatment of women and our abuse or neglect of our environment. And he would make these sounds and create these songs for decades in private at home without any real understanding that he would ever share his music with wider audiences. But in 2012, a small record label in Atlanta put out some of Lonnie's music, not expecting it would get beyond just the people who knew about his art, but it soon found its way out into the world, and people who program radio stations and program music festivals, and other musicians and curators like Jay Sanders. And Lonnie found himself being invited to come share something that was personal and private with wider audiences. And also he began collaborating with other people to share his music. To date, Lonnie has put out 6 critically acclaimed albums. His most recent record, Oh Me, Oh My, was named one of the 10 best records of the year by The New Yorker and in the top 50 records of the year by many publications, Pitchfork and many others. His last record before that, his last full-length, Myth, was also named one of the 10 best records of the decade by The New Yorker. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, the songs that are on those records have been performed. They don't get performed again. The music is about the ideas and the things that are present, much the same as Lonnie's visual art responds to the materials and the ideas that are present. Today, Lonnie wrote a few ideas on a piece of paper of things he wants to sing about, and then we asked you to submit some things. I have a handful of them in my pocket, and I will follow along with these guys, and after they play this song that Lonnie has written down, I will pull one out and just call it out. You guys okay with that? Yes. Okay. He said yes earlier, but things change. So I just wanted to make sure. Again, tonight, Lonnie is joined, as we just heard, by his longtime collaborator and friend, Lee Bains. Anything else? Anything I forgot? Oh, yes, one more thing I do want to say. I forgot it the other day, and Lonnie reminded me. From 1961 until 1965, from the time Lonnie was 11 until he was almost 15 years old, he spent those years at a horrible place that can't even be described adequately, called the Alabama Industrial School for Negro Children. There was nothing school-like about it. It was the subject of a I guess you'd call it like an expose, a thorough journalistic podcast that came out last year called Unreformed, the story of the Alabama Industrial School for Negro Children. Lonnie is one of the courageous voices in that 8-part podcast who came out and talked about those times, as well as a number of other people who had been subjected to this, as it was said in the podcast by several people, a slave camp for small Black children. And so I highly recommend you seek out Unreformed. Please give a nice warm welcome to Lonnie Holley and Lee Bains.
Thank you all, New Yorkers, for having us again. It's a wonderful honor to come about you all's way. You know, lately we've been in for transformation. Information get in our brains, informs us of really how we are living. But lately, some of us all wanna jump over the moon. We wanna get to Mars. We wanna build and create there. We wanna lay down new foundation and create new nation. I said some of us want to, hey, jump over the moon. Wanna jump over the moon. Let me tell you about how our dreams are disappearing, and how our imagination is running away. In the meanwhile, back on this planet Earth, you got those that is going hungry, homeless as can be. The water going bad. Nations are all being abused. Bombs are falling. Bullets are flying, penetrating through most walls. And some of us wanna go jumping over the moon to get to Mars. I say you we are living between the stars, between the stars. In the meanwhile, babies are crying, and all around our planet, oh, lifetime is dying. Oh, excuse me, please.
Between the stars.
Help me get up off of my knees. I'm churchly bound. You might as well spread a pallet down and let me lay around. Churches continuously send my prayers, asking for mercy, mercy, mercy on us, the humanity, on us, the humanity. Well, some of us always wanna jump from here to the moon. The measurement between institutions. We was at the Kennedy Center last night performing. Golden walls, golden ceilings, flags of every nation. What it were to see the pictures of the struggles of those that played the role of new humanity's creation. And then here we are in the basement, but supported by mighty steel beams. I looked at them and I said, wow. Because it carried me right back home to cast ironing, what I started with. I'm always ending right back at what I started with. All right, Lee, here we go. Prove it. See, she was all about proving it to herself. Proving it to herself. Because we was always called it ugly. Called ill-given night. Someone could easily talk about me. And I carried on anyway. I thought about the time and the times of the times and the times before the time. I heard them crying because people picked at their skin. And I said, oh, grandmother, if love is skin deep, then I am full of love. If love is skin deep, then I'm full of love. Grandfather took his finger, poked it in the ground, and there he put the seed down, anticipating on it to grow. Just to turn around 2 months later to harvest from its growth. Hey, we are those seeds. We are those seeds. My. If love is skin deep, then I am the depths of love. The depths of love, telling all humanity, look at me. Look at me. Come on now, lead playing, play, lead playing. If love is skin deep, we are the sea. I remember doing this work of art called Without Skin. Hey, yeah. Without skin. What am I? When I look like an alien. Hey, yeah, from beyond the sky. Hey, y'all don't want to hear when I hear this thing. If love is skin deep, hey, you then I am the depths of love. I'm fully over the mountain. I'm scattered all across valley low, deeper than the water. Hey, and I can burn you like the sun. If lovely is skin deep, it's skin deep, skin deep, it's skin deep, skin deep, skin deep. Then I said, grandmother, then I'm the depths of love. So she said, I must prove it to myself. I said, no, you don't have to prove nothing else, because I am you all's reality. Human. No matter how much slavery, no matter how many slaves, no matter how many graves, I am reality, the reality of love, 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 of love. Hey, love, I'll serve you. I will serve you. I just thank the kind spirit for me. Still being submissive and receptive. As the Spirit want to use you, it's going to use you. Grandmama told me when I went to church with her, she said, you sit right there until the Spirit come and dwell within you. You had to learn to just be still and just wait. When the Spirit get ready to use you, it's going to use you. Because that's why you are human. The Spirit gonna use you if it take you all your life, if it have to chase you day and night. I know it. Matt, you want to call out one of them names, or you want me to go on with what's on the list? Call out one of them names. Let's give them a chance. They wanted to pick my brain tonight. They said, oh, we're gonna see how they react to us picking his brain. Call it out. You sure? It's a lottery, yes.
No one's rose. No one's rose. Like nobody's rose.
No one's rose.
Rose like a rose?
Like a flower. Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, I can, at least I'm a seed. Let me do it. I better put it together like y'all need to want to hear. I'm gonna go white seed. Yes, sir. So many times, early in the morning, got up to take an early morning walk. And the dew was in the garden. And the dew was on every rose. I asked who was in the garden. They say, I come to this garden alone. While the dew was still on the roses. But the I was so alone. And every now and then, I didn't feel no dew on me. Hey, hey, hey. I was nobody's rose. I said, hold me closely. I'm no more than a flower. I'm no more than a flower. If it's my touch, touch me gently, because my thrones may make you bleed. Oh,
To the garden.
I was nobody wrong,
Nobody's wrong.
and I come to the garden alone. What did you scattered on every road? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Said human. I was nobody wrong.
Dew was on the road.
Then she stood up tall. She said, "You are my crown,
While the dew was on
and
the
you
road.
had the power that it be felt all over this world." I said, "Oh,
While the dew was
that you had the power to sing on the behalf of Mother Universe."
Dew was on the
And I said,
roses.
"Oh, oh, oh, oh."
Come to the garden.
From now on, humans, I'll try to be a better flower. I'll try to be a better flower. Yes, I will. May I see the person that wrote this note? Would you stand, please, where I can see you? You want your note back? You. Well, thank you. Just put it down with our stuff there. We don't want to. Anything else there, Matt? Right, one more, and then I'll go back to the. Well, I think it's just beautiful what y'all doing. You just pull.
You ready for this one?
Give me a minute to dry up, Lee. That was a tear snatcher. I'm sorry. I get so moody. I'm sorry. I get so moody sometimes. Okay. Go for it.
Dirt.
Black keys, Lee. Before we had any shoes, we walked around in the dirt. Before we had any bed to sleep in, we slept down in the dirt. Let me tell you, every seed needed the dirt. And this earth need the dirt too. So every now and then I have to get a little bit dirty. every now and then I have to get a little bit dirty. Take off my shoes, pull off my socks too. Play around in the dirt. Never my brothers, I'm a sister, playing dirty game. Pretending that we was making food to eat out of dirt. Down in the dirt. Took the weeds and cut them up for our green. Took the clay and mashed it in our hand. Made our meatloaf over and over, over, over and over again. Playing in the dirt. Hey, you man, let's not forget in the activities of war how much is torn down and lands down in the dirt. Down in the dirt. How missiles are falling from the air. Down in the dirt. Blowing dust bags and dirt all around. And particles of dirt rising up, taking wing and flying all over. My, 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 my. Life is a dirty guy. Life is a dirty guy. When I was born, some 74 years ago, Mama said I came out of a womb, rolling around in the ash and the dirt on the floor. Life is a dirty guy. It's a dirty guy. Life is a dirty game. So the moral of the story, if they call you ugly, reduce it down to the dirt on the ground. Love yourself, baby. Love yourself, baby. Down in the dirt. Until you become the best dirt, the greatest dirt any human could ever see. Love yourself, baby. If they treat you like dirt, dirt to dirt. Just think about Alabama Industrial School for Negro children. Beating me down on the dirty ground, turned around and tied and beat me till my blood rained down. Then when I crawl around on the dirt, evidence of my blood drops. Mix it within the grains of dirt. You're talking about dirty, 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 dirty. Dirty, 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 dirty. Who will pay the bills for all the, hey, the dirtiness have killed? Treating them dirty, using dirty words. Hey, 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 he's throwing, hey, hey, throwing, as my friends say. A shit till it hit the fan, but it always finds dirt to line, dirt to dirt, dirt to line, to dirt. Hey, 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 New York City, dirt to line. It's an honor to be able to do this. It's just like I'm pulling these thoughts for you all. They are challenging my brain to go in a different direction than what I've already chose to do, what I've written down and kind of contemplated over when I have to do something all of a sudden like that. So when you all Instagram, no, that's Instagram. What am I saying? Instagram.
Easter.
Okay, maybe
coming
you're
up.
gonna
Easter.
send them on the
Easter's coming
Instagram. Or let them. He said Instagram. Damn, that's a moneymaker. Let him do it. Instagram. But what I'm saying about Instagramming and sending your friends information about your encounters, then this is a rare, very, very rare. Okay,
Yes, sir.
never happened before.
No, sir.
Y'all got it going on, New York. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this here. I'm gonna go back to the keys, and then what we'll do would probably pull another one out the hat and do something else. But let me calm my brain down. These were some really, really serious thoughts riffing right then. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was. Who did dirt? Who wrote down on dirt on the paper?
Not here.
Who did this belongs to? Okay, this is $1 zillion bill. Who did it belong to? This is a check for $1 billion. Nobody want to claim it. Wow, I'm going on with the money. Okay, nobody won't say it. No, they I think if they did, we'll keep it just in case. I think it was a good song. How about you all? Did you all think it was all right? Okay. Letting me know that my challenges is not in vain. Okay, so thank you all. Okay, so we're gonna go with this one here. White Keys Lee. All I can do is say thank you. Because I get all teared up a lot of times. I can feel her spirit say, "Don't cry, baby, baby, don't cry." Don't cry, baby, baby, don't cry. But I told her that I'm so filled with pride. She said, "Come here, lay your head on my shoulder." Yeah, yeah. And I can feel my tears begin to fall like rain. She said, "Don't cry, baby, baby, don't cry." I said, "But I can't help it, because I'm living in a world. Hey, hey, when there's so many crying, and if I have to be considered the king of tears, the king of tears, then it's up to me, first of all, to learn how to cry, to learn how to cry. She said, "Don't cry, baby,
Don't cry,
baby, don't cry.
don't cry, baby.
To every season there's a reason. To every bit of love. There's a depth, you know. Like I said last night, hey, for all of you all that have struggled to make it right, make it right. And look at Brother Dinner, pictures on the wall. And I said, oh, you struggle just to make a change. When a whole lot of us is crying after leaving the field. We wetted up the tears. Hey, and we wasted them, hey, on the crops in the field. Some of them being hung, beaten up, bloody. Being denied drinking water. Nothing to eat at all. Don't cry, baby. And then the old man said, that a change is gonna come. Hold on in there. Change is gonna come. Hold on. Change is gonna come. So we grew up from children. Now most of us, oh, we're grown. We are overgrown. But like a conversation, if we can't spread our expression all around the nation, change is gonna come. If we can't take communication seriously, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. I have to say, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, baby. Better schools will be built. Greater institutions will grow strong. And codes and mama, computer technology management, they will manage us, but yeah, it's gonna take your skill. The change is gonna come. It's gonna take your skill. The change is gonna come. Don't prolong it any longer. Do it for real. It's gonna take your skill. The change is gonna come. Your creativity. Change is gonna come. You got you and me, the best that you can be. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, baby. Baby, don't you cry. Give me them tears. Put them in the palm of my hand. And there I'll let them dry. Hey, but the flakes of the tears, I'll throw them in the air. I'll let them fly everywhere and circle this planet all around. Circle this planet all humans. circle our mothership as she go around. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay. Play it, Delly, play it, Delly. Show 'em what we do together. Think about all the teardrops. If you wanna think it ever fail,
Don't cry, baby.
we said don't cry, baby.
Don't cry, baby.
I'm going to be a teardrop holder.
Don't cry, baby.
Hey, yeah, yeah. In the palm of my hand. In the palm of my, palm of my, palm of my, palm of my hand. Somebody once said that I was like a meat grinder, grinding up all this information and putting it out like a hamburger, but I'm not doing it like a hamburger. I think I'm informational and putting it out there where everybody can understand the power of our mind. If you don't mind not playing with it, I mean, if you do as the Bible told you, well, y'all ain't got to believe in the Bible, but it say write of these things. Write means to record, keep a record, keep a note. Whereas one day can say, this he or she wrote. She wrote. Okay, we're gonna go. You're gonna bring another one of those, Matt? One more, and then thank y'all for very much for those that helped. Man, let me just hold them in your hand like that and let me pick one. I'm gonna do like the card guy. This is so fascinating. I think you're gonna keep them all and put them in a little envelope when you get home and say, this is the choices, New York, or what that say,
Lava or Uber?
lava or Uber?
Lava or Uber?
Okay, I can dig that. I'm thinking all y'all gonna take the Uber.
Do what? Huh?
I think y'all all gonna take the Uber.
It says lava.
It's cool.
pretty
It's
sure.
cool. I love the way that came out, you know. I know hell no, you ain't gonna sit up under no volcano while no lava spreading out. You'll take the Uber, all right. Yep, that's a few words to go with that right there, but I'm gonna make a song out of it. Okay. Ooh, lava or Uber? Okay. And I'm hungry as can be. I'll use the lava, but just a little teeny bit of it. Okay. That's real hot, Lee.
That is.
Okay, I need to change the key setting on this. I'm gonna go there. I'll give it to you. I knew it said it was a volcano eruption out in space. They had got to the moon and they started laying a foundation and they dug a little too deep. This volcano started erupting. It's spilling out fire all around. People in the space center of the moon said, Huntsville, Houston, we have a problem. this problem wasn't something that was just expecting. Created a cloud mass to be blowing in the wind. Dusted up all the space shuttle windows. Dried up all the space shuttle fuel. See, it was gonna take some time to send other space shuttles for the rescue. Gonna take some time. And the captain of the space shuttle was at home just resting when they got the news. Captain said, honey, 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 call me an Uber. Call me an Uber. I gotta make it over to my rocket ship. Call me an Uber. Call me an Uber. And she said, honey, you don't have an Uber subscription? She looked at her and said, call me an Uber. If not I think this whole world is gonna be falling apart. Call me an Uber. And volcanoes all around start, start exploding and the lava was flowing. And before you know it, there was no way to escape. No Uber drivers, nowhere around. All the Uber drivers that drove their vehicles way out of town. Call me an Uber. Call me an Uber. Before they call me a fool. Before they call me a fool. Okay. This has been a challenging night, okay? Evening, I don't know what time it is. Maybe I don't need to know. Maybe, because, we're not that far from getting ready to go to Australia, and y'all don't challenge me like this. I won't be able to do nothing but say, call me on the road. Is there anyone else anybody else would like to say anything before we get ready to go? Yes.
I want to say I've known you for 30 however many years, and holy shit.
Holy.
That was incredible. I mean, I know.
Now, is that holy doo-doo coming from a priest or something?
I know that how your songs are created, but obviously there's a lot of thought. Tonight, just having these things thrown at you.
Challenges, man, challenges. I don't know how.
Thank you. Lonnie Holley.
I don't know how America's gonna take that. Sums up for Mother Universe.